Welcome to the Web 3.0 browser overview video. This is best experienced in full screen mode. The Web 3.0 browser is an installed Windows application which is displayed as a control bar located at the top of the user's desktop. It upgrades web addressing, web interfaces, and search interfaces. The first button displays the Web 3.0 logo, which when clicked opens the Digital Limelight website. There you can find out more information about Web 3.0 and register for a wired address. The second button is the menu drop-down button. First item there is the featured section. There you can discover new and interesting Web 3.0 content in over 30 platforms that are built within the Web 3.0 browser. The next item is the favorite section. There you can save Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0 content as well as wired addresses. Next section is Edit Favorites. There you can edit these favorites. Next item is important. It's the Reboot button. Since this browser is in beta, it will have bugs. If you run into any, the best thing to do is reboot the application. The third button is the Settings drop-down menu. First item there is Always in Front. That will place this application always in front of your other Windows applications. Next item will place the menu at the very bottom of the desktop. The last item is the Save Desktop. What that does is any Web 3.0 content you currently have loaded and press this button will be saved, so the next time the computer is restarted, that same Web 3.0 content will be loaded automatically. Next is the input box, which can handle 4 types of inputs. First, wire addresses. Second, Web 3.0 content addresses. Third, search terms. And fourth, standard Web 1.0 and 2.0 addresses. First, let's look at wired addresses. I will enter SuperSang, followed by 2 greater than signs to tell the browser this is a wired address. Now I can either press enter or click the wired address from the drop-down menu. Unlike domain names, which only point to a single website, the wire address points to all of SuperSang's web presences no matter where they are located on the web. The wire address can handle basic Web 1.0 and 2.0 addresses, Web 3.0 content addresses, and other wired addresses. When a Web 1.0 or 2.0 entry is clicked, it is launched in the default browser. In this particular case, his Facebook page, his Twitter page. When a Web 3.0 address is clicked, it opens that within the browser.
I told my girl I don't do art.
Lastly, when a wired address within a wired address is clicked, it goes to that wired address. Now let's look at entering a Web 3.0 content address. I will cut and copy this address into the input box and click enter. That launches the content.
I told my girl I don't do R&B, and now she...
Unlike Web 1.0 and 2.0 addresses that simply point to the content's location, the Web 3.0 address contains who, what, where. The first section is the who. That's the wired address of the content owner. The second is what, that's the platform. And the last is where, and that's the URL of the content's location. Including the wire address in all Web 3.0 addresses allow all Web 3.0 content to be hyperwired to a wired address. You simply need to click the wired address button in the control bar here. That's on our current content, and that launches the wired address. Now you can further explore the content owner's other web presences. I encourage you to watch the Web 3.0 overview video on our homepage, since it shows all sorts of Web 3.0 content ranging from videos to games to applications. Now let's enter some search terms. We'll enter Britney Spears. Now I can either press enter or choose from the interface I'm looking for. You'll notice that the Wikipedia page for Britney Spears is automatically shown, giving us some information right from the start. Now we can look through our results. As we click on them, they're automatically loaded within the web browser. You'll notice that we're not clicking back and forth like a normal search interface. Now let's narrow our search terms. When was Britney born? In this case, you'll notice that the Wolfram Alpha answer engine is automatically loaded and giving us that information. If you are looking more for a traditional search interface, we also have that. Let's look up Britney, go to Classic Search, and now there is the classic version of our search interfaces, powered by Yahoo. Lastly, let's enter a Web 1.0 address. We'll enter BritneySpears.com and press enter. It will go ahead and launch that content. Now back to the buttons on the control bar. The next group of buttons within the browser are the content-based ones. So let's launch some Web 3.0 content. I'll copy this address. I'll paste it and press enter.
I told my girl I don't do R.
The first button copies the Web 3.0 address to the computer's clipboard. Next is the wire address button. When clicked, opens the wire address associated with this content. Next is the link button. It opens an optional Web 1.0 or 2.0 web page the content owner decided to link to the content. For example, if the content is a 30-second demo of an artist's avatar, the link might be to a web page where you can purchase the full version. Next is the Adds to Favorite button. It automatically adds it to the favorites list. You can rename it and move it, and then save it. Next is the Shared button. This web page can be shared with friends or followers. Your friends can basically just press the copy button and copy that web address and paste it within the Web 3.0 browser input box. If they do not have a Web 1.0 browser installed, this web page provides them with a link for more information about Web 3.0 and installing the Web 3.0 browser. The next button is the Move button. It launches the disk controller, which can be used to move the content around the desktop. In addition, the disk controller has all of the buttons on the control bar on its left side. The disk controller can be toggled on and off by right-clicking on it. By holding the right mouse button down and dragging, you can also move the content around the desktop. It is important to understand that HTML-based Web 3.0 content does not always interact with the right mouse button. As you see here, I'm clicking on it and nothing's happening. But much of this content has a bar across the top that does work with the right mouse button. The next button is the Special Effects button. It toggles through the special effects. That's the drop shadow, the white glow, the transparency, and the hologram effect. The next set of buttons is all based on which of the over 30 platforms is displaying the Web 3.0 content. In this case, it's the video controls, and it ranges to HTML history buttons. The X button at the far right of the control bar is the Content Close button. The disk controller also has two close buttons. You can use the close button on the right to close the disk controller. You can also toggle on and off the disk controller with the right button. The close button is located at the bottom left. This closes the content. The last button on the control bar displays an up arrow, which is the minimize button. It shrinks the height of the control bar. Since the Web 3.0 browser is always on the desktop, sometimes it's desirable to reduce its footprint. On this state, it does not show the content control buttons, so you'll have to use the disk controller instead. If you have not already seen the Web 3.0 overview video on our homepage, please do so now. It shows a wide range of examples of Web 3.0 content. You may even want to go to our wired address page of our website and register for a wired address while your perfect name still exists. If you found this video of interest, please share it with friends and family. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have fun in this new Web 3.0 world.